The most valuable lesson that I would say that my mom has taught me is forgiveness. And I learned this through years of observing my mom go through trials and tribulations and how she always chose to forgive. My parents got separated when I was about 11 or 12 years old, and they went on to co parent very efficiently. And I think that one of the reasons they were able to do this was my mom's choice to put parenting first, and to do that, she had to forgive the past. As luck would have it, a few years later, my mom remarried. My stepdad was wonderful, and we had a really wonderful blended family. But when that marriage came to an end, I witnessed my mom forgive my stepdad again, to the point where if they ever have to speak or they bump into each other, my mom is very cordial. It's not just those two instances, but throughout my life, I've watched my mom be hurt and disappointed by people close to her that she trusted, that she loved and wanted the best for, and she always chose to forgive. She wasn't pretending that she wasn't hurt. She wasn't okaying their actions, but she wanted to free herself. That's one thing that she always said, that for her, choosing to forgive was choosing freedom. Instead of holding on to pain, resentment, and bitterness, she chose to ask to learn how to forgive and to be free. A few years ago, when I went through a very painful situation with a friend that I loved like a sister, I was hurt, I was confused. Through that hurt and confusion, I pulled from what I had learned from my mom, and I prayed to learn how to forgive. And now that I'm over, that hurt and anger and pain, when I think about that friendship, I still wish her well, and I hold on to the sisterhood that we had as far as I perceived it. My biggest goal in life is to maintain the purity of my soul. And through this lesson, my mom has given me a tool to do that. The second lesson that my mom taught me is courage. So my mom's a baby boomer, born in the 50s, right smack in the middle of Batho Bataring era. What will people say era? When my mom chose to divorce my dad in the 90s, she had to pull up a lot of courage. We lived in a small town where there were no secrets. Everyone knew everyone's business. Instead of choosing the route of choosing to live a life that was socially acceptable, my mom chose herself, and by doing that, she chose to be misunderstood. A few years ago, when I was in a relationship that I knew had come to the end of the road, but I had so much anxiety about breaking up. I had so much fear about starting over and being alone and being afraid of going through the hurt that comes with a breakup. I remember one night laying in bed awake, and I had many nights of anxiety laying awake in bed. I thought about my mom, and I thought about her choosing to get divorced with kids. And I thought, what am I so afraid of? I didn't even have kids. I also remembered a story that my mom told me about my grandmother. My grandmother died when I was 4 years old, so I never got to know her. My mom told me that she fled an abusive marriage in Zimbabwe, which is our neighboring country, fled with two kids, and went to hide out at her uncle's house for a while. I thought about that story. I thought about my mom. It gave me the courage to walk away from a relationship that just wasn't working anymore. The third thing that I would say that my mom taught me is vulnerability. When my parents got divorced, I was about 11 or 12 years old. And the hardest thing for me, the most heart wrenching thing about it, was watching my mom in pain. My mom cried. She spoke openly about the hurt that she was feeling, and she allowed us to see her in those low moments. As a kid, I didn't know how to process that. I didn't know how to process those feelings. And it made me put up a wall and be emotionally guarded. Throughout my teens, my 20s, I thought that being emotionally guarded and not showing your feelings was a sign of strength. My mom has never pretended to be unaffected by pain. And as an adult, I realized that that is actual strength. My mom didn't numb herself. As a matter of fact, my mom's never drank, she's never smoked, she never partied, she never gambled. She's just chosen to go through her pain, feel it, and deal with it. I've realized that vulnerability allows for real connection, for actual healing, and self awareness. One of the greatest gifts that a parent can give their child is to give them permission to be human, to let them know that they aren't perfect, they aren't invincible, they are just human. What's the most valuable lesson that a parent has taught you?